Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Jay. This is the 6T. Today, we're just taking a deeper dive into getting leads. I know that that's what I talked about the last couple of times, but as of right now, what we're doing is that we're doing a month long, or so it's probably going to be 4 weeks of us just going in, understanding done for you, and then just seeing how we can go ahead and kind of grow the business from there. So first thing that you have to do is understand who your ICP is. So I always tell people like the best thing to go ahead and do is that if you have a company website or you have a target that you have a company or target has a company website or whatever you know or whatever you need to know is somewhere on the internet, what I would always do is that I would always go ahead and just start using AI as help. In this case, we could come back to this, but I would use AI and be able to go ahead and say, hey, I have an ICP and this is their website. So scrape their website, like copy and paste their website, and then put it into AI. I'm not going to show you guys because I kind of have this setup right here. I don't know if I'm going to lose it. But what you'd want to do is that you'd go to AI. You'd be able to go ahead and tell AI, hey, I'm looking for my ideal customer, so my ICP. Can you help me? So you'd be able to go to the website, scrape the website, or copy and paste the website, put it into AI, and then from there, it's going to go ahead and tell you exactly what your ICP is. So from your ICP, you'd be able to go ahead and come to here, and what this is called is Apify, and I was just using it a couple of minutes ago. So what you're going to want to do is that the information that AI is going to give you is that it's going to go ahead and tell you like job description. It's going to tell you like what's most important, but the most important thing is going to be job description, right? You can go ahead and put that there, and then you'll be able to go ahead and say, hey, where's the location of this person? Where your ideal customer is, and then where the company might be located. But honestly, you really only need to know the job title, and then you also want to go and just make sure that you pick the country or state that you're going to go and look for. You go ahead and hit run. If you have a free account, it gives you $5, and then you're able to kind of use this right here in order to go ahead and get for $1.40 1,000 email contacts. They could be good, could be bad, and then you can go ahead and kind of find out if it's good or bad, right? By doing like an email verifier. And then from there, what you then be able to do is that, and this kind of falls into play here, you'd then be able to go ahead and take that CSV file because you save it and you export it as CSV. You take that CSV file and you take it to AI again. You'd ask it to go ahead and build you some one-liners, some hyper-personalized one-liners, and put it into a Google Doc. Once it does that, you'll be able to go ahead and ask it for 3 follow-up emails. So you'd have the close email intro, then you'd have your follow-up, then you'd have your follow-up again, then you'd have your close out, say goodbye, emails there. And then from there, like I said, is that you'd be able to go ahead and make sure that the one-liners are exported to a CSV file, which is you can use Google Sheets. And then from there, what you'd then do is that you'd go to Instantly, and then I've already set this up because it was taking me longer than 10 minutes to record. So what you'd want to do is that you'd want to go ahead and come here and put your leads in here. And then I'm just going to go and show you if you add a lead. You can add a lead from CSV file, or if you have this set up correctly, you can go to share for your Google Sheets. It would help if this was working. There you go. Once you hit share, you'd be able to go ahead and make sure that's not unrestricted. You change it to editor, you copy the link. And once you copy the link, you go back to Instantly and you'll be able to go ahead and put the link in here. And then that link will be able to go ahead and pull this information here, right? So it's pulling this information here. And then I would say the columns or the headers is that I went ahead and made sure that the personalized was in there. So it has the headers. So the only thing that you really have to do is really go to sequences. You'd be able to go ahead and put whatever your subject line is, something that's going to be geared to the customer. And then you'd be able to put personalization. As you can see right here, I just kind of wrote something. But this is from the personalization that we were able to go ahead and get the one-liners. So that way you can go ahead and just write the rest of your email at the bottom of this. And then once you do that, you'll be able to go ahead and set step 2, step 3, step 4. With those other emails, basically copying and pasting from your AI. In this point, it was Claude. And then once you're done doing that, you're able to go ahead and schedule this. And then I'll put 2 schedules, one from, I would say, 8 to 12, right? 8 to 12. And then the second one would be from 1 to 6, right? And then once you're able to go ahead and come over to options, you'd be able to go ahead and use your emails that you have set up there. Set that up, and then you'd be able to go ahead and make sure that this is always going to be enabled. Leave it at that. And then what you want to do here as well is that make sure that this is disabled, because if it's enabled, then it's going to come through as tracking, and it's going to be spammy. And then what you want to do is just make sure that you're sending it as plain text, so that way, again, it doesn't trigger any spam warnings. And then you'll be able to go ahead and hit launch or save. And then once you're able to go ahead and do that, you should be good to go.